Welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies. And I'm here with one of my first followers ever, Roxanne Darling. And she makes some amazing NFTs. Roxanne, I want you to explain what you've been working on.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. And I just have been having so much fun getting to know you and the whole punk community. So that's very exciting for me. So I have two things that I've minted. One are my drawings. I do black and white channel drawings. And I also have what's dear to my heart is this project I call I Am for the Love of Nature, which are nude self-portraits in the American West taken during my 60s. So a couple of years ago, I was out in the RV for 2 months with my partner, and we were visiting all the national parks and hiking and living in nature. And I kept having these urges to take off my clothes and create a photograph. So I didn't start off to make this project. This project, I believe, truly came to me from nature herself. And it took me a while to figure that out. And part of how I figured that out was with the poetry that I have written to accompany each of the photographs. So as it turns out, nature has a lot to say. And the photographs themselves range across a number of topics, from aging. Of course, you don't usually see nude women in their 60s being featured anywhere. And it took me a while to get over my own privacy of being willing to share the photographs. But it's also about consumerism. It's about self-acceptance and how I think if we're going to care for our planet, we have to also care for ourselves, because we're all in a hologram together. And if you don't love yourself, it's really hard to love anything or anyone else. So that's the project in a nutshell.
That is absolutely perfect. That was actually 2 minutes and 3 seconds, which is perfect. We're going to move just right on to the next thing. Would you like to talk about poetry next? Would you like to talk about one single piece next? Where would you like to go to next? And then I'll re-ask the question to you, and then we'll pick up from there.
Okay, why don't we hop over to a photograph?
Okay.
And then I've got this poem ready to go, and
Right.
I can give a little backstory on it.
Excellent. All right. I'm just going to bring in a question here. This is one of your latest pieces. We have some poetry.
Yeah.
Roxanne, take it away. Pretty much something like that. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Well, right here is one of my favorite pieces, and I hear we have some poetry with it.
Yes, we do. This photograph was taken in Grand Teton National Park. It was actually shot on an iPhone. So I'm kind of camera agnostic. I don't consider myself a world-class strict photographer, but I use photography very intimately in my conceptual artwork. So this one is called Becoming the Vastness, and I'd like to read you the poem. Standing on a fallen lifeline, a mirror appears. A shadow falls, a spine straightens. A mind cancels its cruelty. A heart returns to hope. A memory echoes, as above, so below. And that's part of this theme of nature reflecting back to us. This message, I love you, why don't you love yourselves? Why don't you love me? Why aren't you taking care of yourselves? Why aren't you taking care of me? And that's what I feel like I'm here to do, is be a messenger for Mother Nature.
And I love how you bring it within nature, the reflection within the lake you're looking at, overlooking the beauty. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that was perfect. Next featured piece.
There we go. Boulder with Boulders.
And was this one in New Mexico?
This is Joshua Tree National Park.
Ooh, all right.
One of my favorite places.
All right, Roxanne Darling. All right, here we are. How about you give us a little bit of explanation with the boulders, older with boulders?
Yes, so I like to play on words, BOLDER with boulders. This is in Joshua Tree National Park, which is one of my favorite places. And little side note, some people say, how can you be naked in the national parks? One, it's legal. You're allowed to be, clothing is optional. Obviously, lewd behavior is not allowed, but you generally don't see people because most people don't want to be bothered by it. But the other little factoid about national parks is that um, something like 80 or 90% of the people who visit them barely leave the parking lots. So if you're willing to walk a few hundred yards or a few miles, you can have the place to yourself. People often ask me the mechanics of how I make my images. So this image is also special to me because it addresses my male counterparts, and I'm a strong feminist, and sometimes that gets confused in my messages. So hopefully this poem will explain it for you. So I call this Boulder with Boulders. Do you do that dance between embracing your own desires but still wanting approval for them? I do. I'm learning where to go for strength so I can play with others instead of needing them. These rocks are my big brothers. They invited me and my boldness to come and take a stand. So here I am.
Wow. Look at I just love the light, you know, how it the shadow off of the body and the boulders and the rocks. I mean, this is wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of the photographs have shadows in them, and that's also part of this shadow self, you know, that in terms of coming to terms with the parts of ourselves we may not be enamored with, but that are truly who we are.
Excellent. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. You're a nat. Have you done this before? You're a natural at this.
I
I mean,
have
this is
done,
spot
I had a
on.
I had a video podcast called Beach Walks with Rocks.
Uh-huh.
Shane and I were one of the first video podcasters in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And back then we shot on a little Olympus handheld camera that shot 20 seconds of video. He would walk backwards, I would walk forward with our dog, and he would wiggle when the countdown was
Uh-huh.
going to 16, 17, 18, 19 seconds. I would have to wrap up my thought, and then he'd click again, and we'd stitch, you know, 10 of those 20-second clips
I mean,
together and
that's like the
turn
original
out an
Twitter. That's
episode.
like the
That's,
original Twitter. No, you're probably a master at like Instagram and all that, huh?
well, I don't know that I'm a master. I've used it a lot. I've used it a lot. So
Well, yeah, you're making this easy on me. You know, I'm getting a treat here on
fantastic.
Earth Day. Thank you.
Okay, great. Next one, going toe to toe. Speaking of shadows, yeah, this will be a good segue if it gets stitched together. So you tell me when you're ready.
All right. Well, we spoke about shadows in your other pieces, and this one, you know, this is a shadow piece right here. And the black and white, I love how it's you know, presented in this. And tell me about it. How did you get the camera angle on this?
Well, this is shot with a drone, a DJI drone. And so what's great about the drone is the controller is connected to your phone. And so I can send the camera up. I built this little oval construction, and I can send the camera up and angle it exactly where I want, and then jump into the scene, and my partner does the finishing controls on it for me. So I love this because your brain really has to work to figure out what's going on here. And that's kind of what happens when we're trying to deal with our shadow self. You know, we have to work at what's going on underneath the surface. So I call this image going toe to toe with my shadow, because literally my toes and my shadow toes are lined up there. So here's the poem. Some days my shadow self looms large. Seeking stillness, I hide in the center, my own home, and wait for the sunset to gather me up again. Hide and seek, day in, day out.
I first looked at this, and what I do with a lot of the pieces, I kind of wonder what the artist is thinking. And when I first looked at it, I thought, you know, I thought of a sundial and I thought 3 o'clock. And it means so much more to know more behind the toe to toe and the shadow and the thinking of it. And the poem just really just makes this NFT, more than meets the eye.
Yes. And that's my role as a messenger from nature, so I take that role very seriously. And I've often said I'm camera agnostic. I'll use whatever camera I have, or that can create the image that I'm looking for. So sometimes it's an iPhone, sometimes it's a drone, sometimes it's a DSLR. Again, it's not so much about photography as it's about a conceptual art project using photography.
Right on. The next piece.
I got to get to the one that I'm looking for. This one. There we go. So I got a bid on this one today.
I heard.
Giselle,
All
she's
right, we're
amazing.
here back with Roxanne with a bid on this wonderful NFT and one of my
Yes,
favorites.
very exciting. So this one was taken in Western Colorado. And oops, we have to start over. Sorry, my
Okay,
mouse.
not a
I gotta
big deal.
move my mouse. Okay, let's start over.
Back again with Roxanne Darling with one of my favorite pieces. And you know what? There's actually a bid on it right now. Can you tell us a little bit about this piece? I think it's one of your trademark pieces.
I think it is too, and it's partly because of the title. I call it Occupy the Present. And one of my personal quotes is, the best way to invent the future is to occupy the present. So I'm a big fan of not worrying about the past and not going into the future, but staying right here and right now. We can get everything we need. And it's very fortunate to live in the West, where we have these roads that are very under-traveled, so I can create images like this. So let me read the poem for this one. The road to personal power is paved with vulnerability. Standing alone, I see the world before me. Woman, earth, sky, no needs, only wants.
Wow. I mean, that's like point on with exactly what I'm looking at when you're reading that. I mean, it's like to a T, to a T.
Thank you.
I mean, was it hard to write this? Or I mean, is this just what you feel at the moment?
These came to me mostly very effortlessly. There are, however, a number of images in the project that I don't have poems for yet. So they've been sort of sitting on the sidelines, waiting for me to, I think, spend more time with them. But for most of the poems, it was nature speaking to me. So it was pretty straightforward and not excruciating by any means. But it's funny, you said when you said after hearing the poem, that's exactly what the photo says to you. And that really excites me, because I want the photo to stand alone as a work of art. But I think the words basically make it a 3D story that allows the viewer to really jump into the image.
Awesome. Anything else you want? Website, whatever. I mean, Twitter, anything like that.
Sure.
Wanna? Yeah, I mean,
I'd be
you
happy.
can pull it up right here. Visuals are great. If
Okay, good. Well, that's my project site, which I will go back to the homepage, and my Twitter, and my work on ephemera. I'll scroll through a little bit, and my Instagram account.
all right. I might just start over with a general. Take your time. We're in no rush. So if you need to
Thanks.
catch your
Hydrate.
breath.
Okay, good. Good.
All right, I'll start over from the kind of this welcome all aliens, apes, and zombies. All right, so let's go. I think I'm recording now anyway. So welcome all my aliens, apes, and I gotta do that over. My punchline, how can I mess that up? Outtake. Take two. Welcome, all my aliens, apes, and zombies. How can people follow you if they want to click? How can they get a hold of you?
Well, I'm going to show you my project website, which is iamfortheloveofnature.com. That's pretty straightforward, just like the name of my project. And almost everywhere else you can find me at Roxanne Darling. So on Twitter, I'm Roxanne Darling. On Ephemera, which is where I have minted my first 4 photographs, I'm also at Roxanne Darling. And on Instagram, I'm also at Roxanne Darling. And so you can sort of look around for me and find me in different locations with that same username. The only exception is on Clubhouse, I'm Miss Darling.
Well, Roxanne Darling, thank you very much for being one of my first followers. I love cool stuff. You're making cool stuff. Please keep it up. Please keep on in contact. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you for having me on your show. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Dude, awesome. Thank you for like being just cool and just so spontaneous and just I'm just trying to have fun and this is part of it. So this is really fun for me. And is there anything you think that we need to cut, delete, take out, anything along those lines?
Yeah, just coughing. But no, I think I'm fine with everything we said. I showed you there were a couple of images scrolling through the slider. You can decide
That
if you
I
want to
will
leave
not
those in or
present. Yeah, I
not.
don't
But
have to worry
yeah,
about that.
great. Otherwise, yeah, we're good.
And
This
if
is
there's anything I
great.
can help you out with in the future, let me know. And, new drops, anything like that. I'm going to chop it up and bring it back to the department and think of how we want to distribute it. If we want to do it maybe like 1 a day all next week, is my thought. If we want to maybe wrap it into like something I maybe want to do as well, that's a thought. But that's it. I mean, any questions, thoughts, concerns, or ideas?
Just give me a little heads up so I can plan around it for myself, because I've been thinking that I could talk more about the work. And this is going to be a great jumping off point for me to maybe start a thread with each of the clips.
Okay.
And
Is there a
so
time? Is there a time frame for you? I mean, I
no,
mean,
no,
all right.
I am at your service 100%. So
Because let me
I don't
think.
have any big plans. I'm getting shoulder surgery May 19th. So hopefully
Uh,
we can get it done before then.
All right. Well, make sure you get some good softball throws in or whatever with that shoulder. I hope everything's all right with that.
That's just falling apart. That's all. It'll get fixed up.
There we go. I'm thinking like I will definitely let you know. And what we've been doing is we pre-schedule release videos on Twitter. So like you
Okay.
just like put a specific time, a time and a date in there. So
Mhm.
I'll let you know all those times and dates,
Okay, good.
and
Good.
for
That'll be
what pieces
perfect.
and what things I was doing. So I'm gonna be doing it anyways. It's just a copy and a paste to you. So I'll definitely give a heads up. And selfishly speaking, that would work well for NFT stories, because then if we have a centralized effort, we get more people involved. And that's
Yeah.
what it is about spreading the voice and getting cool things to cool people.
Good. 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 Yes, I'm on board, and just let me know. And
All
like I
right.
said, I'm a Twitter addict, so I don't look at it overnight. So that I don't take my phone in my bedroom. So I
I
get
know,
a
and I
good
missed
eight
you. Like
hours of
there
no
was 3 or 4
Twitter.
days where I did notice that you weren't on Twitter, and so I'm like, oh, what's going on? And I thought she was on a project, and then you came back like, oh, I took a little break.
She's there. Yeah. Well, I took a little road trip myself, so
Good for
try to
you.
get offline every now and then.
You
So
need to.
fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much.
No, thank
And
you. I mean,
yeah,
I just sat here and listened and had fun, and that's about it.
okay. Off
All
we
right,
go.
take it
Have a good
easy.
evening.
Stay
Thanks.
stay positive and love life.
Always.
Yes, yes. Bye bye.
Bye.